Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
This is Banned from Ringside.
Tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast, we have your G132 big-time preview. We talk about Fyter Fest Night 1. New Vince McMahon news has dropped, and Zach's going to defend him again. Dolph Ziggler closes out Raw in a very interesting way. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast.
Zach, you gonna defend that man?
He always takes the side of the rich dudes.
That's crazy.
Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Mark. So welcome to the Banned from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Cadillac Coupe de Bill. And sitting to my left, I might have already used that one. I don't remember.
I don't know. That's still fucking funny.
Sitting to my left, as always, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
It's all good, baby. I'll allow the congregation to take a bit as they chuckle. Allow me to ask you to bow your heads as we read from the latest edition of the Banned from Ringside podcast, volume 265, chapter 3, verse 14. And the good smart saith, hashtag boo the heels. It's all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat, the holy trinity of BFR. Great week of wrestling for me personally. I was off for my night job, so I caught up on a bunch of wrestling. Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling being the highlights. God damn, I love wrestling, dude. I just love fucking wrestling. Crowd was actually audible in Japan for the first time that I can remember. So that's a preview of what's hopefully to come from New Japan. So yeah, good time for me this week.
And out there in Portland, Oregon, we have Two Beer Zach. What's going on, Two Beer?
BFR Western.
I'm just so mad that all of these people have to side with the victim. It is so unrealistic. No. Vince is going down. He's tossing the breath in Titanic.
Yeah,
it's all
right.
happening.
Yeah,
and,
right.
I'm just here with the popcorn. I'm Michael Jackson Thriller, baby.
That is the earliest he's heating up we've ever had. Hello, Marks. We are coming at you from steamy St. Charles, Missouri.
Man, ain't that bad.
No, it ain't that bad. It's been. I think sweltering is worse than steamy. I said sweltering a couple weeks
Last
ago.
week was sweltering.
So I have a big day tomorrow at work, so I'm taking it easy. So I might be a little bit more under control. I'm not going to threaten the lives of any sitting senators. I'm not going to use any racially ambiguous or racially ambivalent language or anything like that. We're just going to have a nice, clean show.
Beer, that's your cue. That means you got to pick it up a little bit more. You know, no more cum jokes, more dick jokes. You know, I'm looking to you to pick up the slack for Bill being responsible today.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that too much. Without further ado, is there something I'm forgetting? I feel like there's a part of the intro that I'm not saying. Anyway, who cares? Without further ado, let's get to that 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
JCB, kick it off.
You act like we got sponsors or something.
I feel like it takes longer usually. I don't know. I'm off. I'm having a weird day.
I can pick anything?
Anything you want, bro.
Anything. I mean, you can do another fireworks PSA. People are still shooting them off.
No, actually, down in South City, they actually stopped. So that's a good sign. The cats can actually go to sleep.
It's just gunshots now. Again.
Yeah, it's just gunshots. No big deal. Let's talk about the bad. I like to fall in the grenade whenever possible. So the 1 count is going to be Vince McMahon making news in more of a negative way. We've already found out about some hush money that's been paid off. Now we have another round of, well, I shouldn't say another round of incidents, but the biggest incident, once again, from the Wall Street Journal, Vince paying a sitting talent extra money for some curricular activities when Vince went back for a repeat performance, if you will. Said performer decided not to do this again, and that cost said performer a spot in the hierarchy, so to speak. Her push was not even there anymore. I don't even know what to say with Vince at this point. You know, it's not like this is a surprise by any stretch of the imagination. We've all heard rumblings and rumors about this person, that person, whatever the case may be. I've just find it kind of funny now where we're getting credible sources that are now jumping to the forefront and making things feel like, you know, there has some legitimacy to it, for lack of a better word. I'm not here to pass too much judgment. I don't know what went on behind closed doors. I'll just say this. A lot of Vince's stuff is starting to come to light, and that's good. But there has to be some sort of repercussions from this, or otherwise this is not going to allow the next person, whoever it is, male or female, because, yes, there are males that are going through this too. It won't allow that next person to be able to come out and say, hey, what happened to me was wrong. If you're not going to, and Vince is going to be a hard guy to topple. I'm kind of with Bill on this. I find it extremely difficult to believe that he goes down for any of this. Him stepping down as CEO is just figurehead shit. You know how this works. You know he's still running shit because he's still traveling with the WWE.
And the booking still sucks.
I'm surprised he didn't come out on Friday night.
That's what I was going to say. That is a sign that I think this
This
round was a little bit more serious.
And there at least somebody in his ear is like, hey, you need to take this a little more seriously than what he's been doing.
And they're making it sound like there's more to come. Hey, so you said you're not here to judge. I know somebody that is here to judge. Tyrion Zach Pullman, what are your thoughts?
I just want to point out that I was laughing at Jason's euphemisms and not the idea of a authority figure sexually harassing or assaulting a employee.
Well,
so,
I tried to clean I tried to clean it up as best as possible. I'm not as eloquent as you two guys. You know, I'm not an English major. I don't write my own novels. I just talk some shit.
No, you made it funny though, which
I do what I can.
It was funny. Yeah, I mean, the other stuff you could almost write off as just being like a billionaire's version of like OnlyFans, where he's just like having sex and paying people to not talk about it. $1 million to him is like literally nothing, but that's 7.5. And with that 7.5, the idea was that there was like coercion and there was a lack of consent. Whoo, that is definitely the kind of stuff that takes people down. It's very difficult, I think, not because Vince is Vince, even though he is in a position of extreme power there as far as like holding so many votes, chairman of the board, CEO, all that kind of stuff. But I think the biggest problem is this is professional wrestling and people don't care about scandals in professional wrestling because they think of it as lowbrow entertainment. I mean, Harvey Weinstein was a bigger deal than Vince McMahon, and that dude went down. I mean, it took a long time, but he eventually got his comeuppance. That's the only reason I think that I'm hesitant to say that Vince will have any major repercussions is because it's wrestling, which is sad to say. There's so much terrible stuff. Like, they literally made how many seasons of Dark Side of the Ring? Like, they could have made that many seasons on Vince alone.
That's true.
Well, no, there was that Netflix documentary that was getting ready to come out, and apparently that was scrapped because of this latest round of allegations. Sending
those are some repercussions.
Yeah, sending unsolicited dick pics. That's some shit that Joe Schmo should do. You're Vince McMahon. You're bigger than that. Okay, and he's doing shit like that. That to me is like, damn dog, really? That's how you go in that way?
Can you imagine Vince getting himself like ready, like in front of the mirror to like send a dick pic?
Yes, I can. Absolutely.
I 100% can. Is the thing.
Like doing some push-ups before? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, fluffing it up. Like, it's plastic.
Okay.
Like,
how many times do we see Vince flex for no reason? Plenty, okay? if he dropped like Stone Cold, he'll be up at the top of the ramp, guns, boys. I could totally see him doing some shit like that. Are you kidding me? Come on.
So you don't come to Band from Ringside for news. As I say, we're not journalists. You're not going to get any news here. We don't have to belabor this too much because we all know. It does sound like there's more coming.
It does sound like there's more coming. I really want to see, not even see it. I want to see if someone actually steps, outside of, the cloak of protection. I'm filling the blank, and this is what Vince McMahon did to me. That's what I want to see next. I want to see names. I don't even care if it's a name I don't even know. I want somebody to own the shit. Come out and say, hey, this is what Vince McMahon did to me.
Well, that's certainly the victim's prerogative. If somebody were to do that, it would be quite courageous. Also, but now that the tide has started to turn, I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility. I mean, you even heard Mickie James say, well, I guess that's why I didn't get the push.
Right.
Like there are going to be people that got pushes that may come out and say it, and I wouldn't be surprised. That's
what I want to see.
I am,
especially the ones that didn't get $1 million, and they're just like, I did this shit for free.
Oh, it's actually it's really fucking sad.
Gross.
Yeah.
Damn.
I will say that when Zach shared this on Friends of BFR, I want to say it was Monday morning or Tuesday morning. I, for one, was
And again.
Shocked. Once again, that's not my bit. It's not my bit. Adam Crowley used to do it. But there's more coming. Stay tuned. The other thing, Harvey Weinstein was probably a bigger deal. Harvey Weinstein doesn't have as much money, and I don't know if Miramax was publicly traded, but I know for a fact that WWE is, and I know for a fact
that's actually the only reason this story came out. Like those Wall Street Journal dudes, like their whole thing is investigating publicly traded companies. Yeah, for shareholders.
Yeah.
They're not like sensationalist journalists. Like they're just doing this.
No, this is a news story to them for somebody that's in charge of a $1 billion company, probably multi-billion. I don't know.
Yeah, it's about $4 billion, I think.
Jesus.
But it is Vince McMahon is the most important figure in professional wrestling, the industry that this podcast discusses, in history. He is
in history.
I mean, it's not close.
God, that just
nope.
And
it is not even close.
And this should rock the industry. At least it's going to rock WWE, who is the behemoth within the industry. So, yeah.
I just wish I would like to hear. I know that they won't and they can't. I would just like to hear more from talent. They can't say anything, right? But stuff's gonna start coming out, like Bill said. It's gonna be like a snowball effect, and that there's people that are wrestling right now that are just disgusted. Like, you think Big E's sitting there, dude, this dude is so, he seems like such a good person. I'm sure there's people that are just ashamed to be connected to that. Even if they knew that there was shady stuff in the past, for all this stuff to come up, it's got to make you feel just gross. I worked for a company that had a total sleazeball in it, and I felt terrible. Even I didn't even associate with this dude, and this dude got, rightfully accused, and it just was gross just being even associated with that. I just can't imagine how. And that they're doing company rah-rah shit. They're doing
well, they added
really
it together, which is disgusting. I mean, it's so disgusting that they add together to the then, now, forever. It's nah, I'm not together with you.
Mm-mm.
That's the way some of these people should be saying. is that I'm not together with you. That guy that Zach is talking about, man, fuck that guy straight to fucking hell. I'm not even going to say his name, but I know exactly who he's talking about, and he is a motherfucker, and I fucking hate him.
John Cena reportedly.
No, it's not John Cena.
I know.
Zach never worked with him.
Right. He's about to say, John Cena did what? John Cena reportedly, supposedly pulled out of SummerSlam because of this. The Rock's involvement in WrestleMania might be in question because of this latest Vince round of allegations. So, I mean...
those dudes are smart to not...
Well, you don't...
Yeah,
I mean...
Absolutely.
They have the most to lose.
Yeah, if you're The Rock or if you're John Cena and you're aspiring to be The Rock, the last thing you want to do is be involved in some negative bullshit you don't have to be involved in. Rock is even on a bigger level. Black Adam, I'm sure, is getting ready to come out here in a little bit. The last thing he needs on the red carpet is to be asked about Vince McMahon. I don't want to talk about that shit.
Is Black Adam like some guy from the Indies or something?
Yeah, he's that black version of The Undertaker.
The good, I mean, luckily, even if Rock drops out of WrestleMania, they can always fall back on Roman Brock. You know,
why not? It seemed to work the first 7 times.
You can always just have another one.
I will say before we move on, I know Bill probably will move us on. Good quarterback that he is. You guys mentioned The Rock, and since we're on WWE stuff, there's a really great article in Sports Illustrated that I shared to friends at BFR about Rocky Johnson setting up franchises all throughout Canada, and just he's got The Rock has 5 half brothers and sisters that just kind of realized that they were, just finally connected, right? Not just realized that they were a lot of them knew who that Rocky Johnson was their father, but The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is the only one that he actually ever raised. So it is a crazy article. It's a total roller coaster. There is a documentary coming out by one of the half sisters of The Rock, who's also in the film industry, and it is not about Rocky Johnson and The Rock or anything like that. It's about what it's like to be kind of like an abandoned child, just kind of almost therapeutic for her, kind of exploring her feelings and stuff like that. And I think her siblings that she's connected with are going to be on it. But anyway, super interesting. The Rock hasn't said anything about this. No comment from him, but there's 5 or 6, and there could be more. These are just the 5 or 6 that have actually come out and said yeah, Rocky Johnson's my dad.
The headline of that article: Bloodline adds 5 new members.
You ain't shit.
Oh, welcome to the Usos.
Let's move on to that 2 count.
1, 2, 3.
2 here. What's the 2 count?
2 count. We had the first night of Fyter Fest. So Fyter Fest is now a 2-week special Dynamite as they kind of do these specialty shows.
Rampage too, because there's going to be some spillover in the Rampage tomorrow and then on the following Friday as well.
Gotcha. But yeah, Fyter Fest originally was a Bleacher Report only pay-per-view that Kenny Omega put together with a gaming company. It was pretty interesting. And it was before Dynamite was even a thing. It was the only way to see AEW. There was that first Double or Nothing show, and then the next thing they did was Fyter Fest, and it was the only AEW that you could see. So, but they've transitioned, and now it's one of the special Dynamites. So the reason I say that and I introduce it like that is it was a pretty packed show. I think this was a really good Dynamite, all things considered. AEW was not match quality wise, but maybe kind of booking, disorientation wise, it's been a little frenetic, let's say, for the past couple months. Tony buys ROH. They then do a joint pay-per-view with New Japan just a few weeks after they do one of the biggest shows of the year for their company. So I feel as much as maybe they're letting things breathe about as much as like an auto asphyxiation erotica person. Like they're breathing like just enough, just to get you there, but not too much.
You still live? Okay, cool, perfect.
Yeah. So we opened with a TNT Championship match: Wardlow versus Orange Cassidy. Super interesting match.
Very.
You kind of expect Wardlow to run over guys, but you can't have him run over Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy is one of the biggest stars in the company. And, they had a pretty long match. Wardlow sold quite a bit for Orange. And even though I don't think anybody thought that Orange was going to beat Wardlow in the end, the crowd really got into this, of course, because they really like both guys. But there was a moment, I think, particularly the beach break, when he hit that, the crowd really popped for the 2 count on that one. So they did kind of get the crowd, even if everybody kind of expected the ending of this. But
AEW does a great job of giving the live crowd either a really compelling segment or usually what it usually is 90% of the time a super fresh matchup that they've probably never even considered, and that the crowd's always piping hot and ready to go right at the beginning, and they give them something. And I agree. I thought this was a really interesting match. It was. I was curious to see how it played out. I thought that it played out really well. I thought that Wardlow giving him the fist bump at the end was really cool. I also think
you kind of re-cemented him as a babyface because he was getting some boos. Not a lot.
I was just getting ready to say that.
Oh, also, real quick, speaking of boos, Chuck Taylor pulling out a chainsaw.
You stole my thunder again. Damn.
I also
sorry.
No, I don't care.
I also want to say that as a massive Pixies fan, I always thought the Where's My Mind theme music was just a little off. I want to say that Jefferson Starship Jane is like a money entrance song for Orange Cassidy.
It's so good.
It's
so good.
Absolutely fucking money. I love it.
It's better. I always said that Here Comes Your Man by the Pixies would have been great. A better choice than Where's My Mind. But this is even better than that. And it's his indie song. I never watched him on the indies. I'm not that hipster to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. But
thank you, Two Beer, for not lying to us.
The Jefferson Starship song was his indie song?
Yep. That's what he came out to.
Oh, man, that is really good. Really good. Just a perfect song for him.
I'll just piggyback on just some of the thoughts you guys said. I thought, especially in a scenario like this where Wardlow is obviously the significantly bigger guy, they played into that. Wardlow dominated parts of the match. Orange Cassidy had to fight from underneath, so that gave him that underdog, babyface appeal that he kind of already has to begin with, more so in this case. The second thing I wanted to say is kind of what you were talking about. We're talking about fresh matchups. You don't see babyface versus babyface. You don't see heel versus heel. AEW does a really good job. In this scenario, they did a really good job of doing babyface versus babyface because you got two of the most over guys in the company right now facing off for the title. Okay, you don't usually get that, and especially you don't get that when it's two on the same side. I thought they really played into the fact that Wardlow, as the bigger guy, kind of needed to be a little heelish. It wasn't like he was cheating or anything like that. I mean, if anybody was cheating, it was the best friends. Like Two Beer said, next thing you know, they were talking about, we're going to cheat. And they're bringing out fucking chainsaws. I'm like, damn, dog. Okay, there's cheating and then there's death. Okay, we got to draw the line and figure out which side of the line we're going to stay on.
Drew McIntyre's using a sword all the
time. You guys remember Chainsaw Charlie?
I do.
The worst gimmick that Terry Funk ever did. Terry Funk, you could argue Terry Funk is like the greatest wrestler to ever live, and I will probably disagree just because I think there's better, but I also won't not agree with you because he's that good.
Dude,
so
70
good.
Still doing
but Chainsaw
shit.
Charlie was the worst.
It was a bad Texas Chainsaw Massacre takeoff.
I'm sorry, another side here, but anytime Terry Funk is brought up on this podcast, I have to do the obligatory remind everybody that when Sam Elliott and Terry Funk are getting ready to fight in Roadhouse, and Terry Funk calls Sam Elliott dad, that they're the exact same age. All right, go ahead, Jason.
No, that was it. I'm done. I was going to say that was the two things I wanted to touch on.
All right, what's next, Zach?
That's good. All right, moving on. We have Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston promos hyping up the match for next week, which I think will be the main event of Fyter Fest Night 2. So TNT asked for a gimmick match to go along with Shark Week. So they obliged, and I really think this is probably the best thing that you can come up with. Like, because we're going to get a blow off to this Jericho and Kingston thing. We're going to have a barbed wire everywhere match. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be awesome because both these guys are awesome. But really just, a couple of promos. Jericho got more TV time. Kingston was not happy with that in his promo. I do love that. I love the realism that Eddie and Moxley bring with their promos. They're 100% real. Like, it doesn't feel like they're playing a character. It doesn't feel like they're anything but what they are. And either they just are, which is awesome, or they're just that good to where you just can't tell, which is even awesomer. And both are phenomenal.
Every segment with Britt Baker and her little faction feels like Shark Week themed to me, but
the fuck? I don't even know where that came from. I was going to say
in the waters.
I was going to agree with you. Jesus Christ!
You don't know the joke about Shark Week?
No.
About when women spend too much time together and they all start menstruating at the same time, and so that
blood in the water. Okay,
it's called Shark Week because they're all menstruating at the same time.
That's a goddamn shame, man. Y'all fucked up. That's some fucked up shit.
Jokes are always better when you have to explain them.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, I'm out of the loop. I apologize. I was just going to piggyback on what Zach said. When Eddie cut his promo, and don't get me wrong, Jericho did his thing. The Painmaker's coming for next week. Okay, great. Fantastic. Check. Eddie's is just totally different. He made me believe that he was pissed off at Jericho. You fucked up my Ruby, and now I'm going to have to fuck you up. There is going to be so much bloodshed next week.
He made me believe that he was pissed off at Tony Khan. He was like, so he gets
his
this
5 minutes?
Yeah.
And okay, fine.
Yeah. I mean, Eddie Kingston he's a gem. He's a treasure.
It's the little stuff like that. And I don't know if Eddie Kingston's ever going to be world champion. He needs to at least be mid-card champion at some point. I
would like to see him be world champion at some point. I do like that Jericho came out by himself. He did not need the Jericho Appreciation Society for this particular promo, for something that feels this personal.
Yeah, it's clearly a blood feud, and it will be, coming next week.
Leave the comedy act back there.
For sure.
I was reading something where I wish I could remember the wrestler, but they were just essentially saying, like, Eddie Kingston really kind of is what you see. They're like, when I would pick this dude up for shows, he would just be standing on the curb smoking a cigarette with his wrestling boots in his hand. Like, that's all he would bring. Like, he would just change his shoes before he got in the ring. It's just so awesome. That's a good segue. Real quick, Kingston had a phenomenal match with Konosuke Takeshita, who is, like, my new favorite wrestler. I am so in love. I love Konosuke Takeshita as much as he loves Cinnabon, and that's a lot. So if you check his Twitter, dude loves Cinnabon. That's like his favorite part about America.
Okay, I was just going to say, I like Cinnabons too. I didn't even think it's that deep, but, what else? Cool. Shit, do your thing, man. Bag up the Cinnabons.
He loves them. If I ever met him, I'd give him a Cinnabon gift card. I don't even know. I'd have to go to the airport or something to find one, but I'd find it.
I'm more of a Sbarro guy. Maybe Auntie Anne's.
Auntie Anne's is good.
I feel like any Sbarro that I'm at, I just have the possibility of running into Enzo.
Ugh, hard pass. You made me stop watching 205, motherfucker.
Oh, shit. But yeah, they had a fantastic match, and Kingston went over 2 spinning back fists, like literally falls down because Takeshita hit him with a flying knee and like falls down and lands on him for the pin. But they did some like Jumbo Saruta, Misawa spots at the beginning, which is one of the most memorable All Japan matches like of all time. It was super fun callback. Like I love that. But anyway, so Takeshita is facing Moxley. This is a highlight of the show for me. Absolutely love this match. These guys went out there and absolutely killed it. Takeshita is such a superstar. I wanted him to win so bad. The crowd wanted him to win
I was getting ready
so
to say,
bad.
Moxley was getting a little boost here too. Truth be told.
Dude, totally. I mean, like, he did, like, we were talking about, like, oh, man, only Hiroshi Tanahashi can get John Moxley booed.
Shit.
Guess what? Takeshita did the same shit 2 weeks later. Like,
I'm
that's
sitting
how
watching
good this
it.
guy is.
I'm watching it. I'm hearing. I'm on the recliner. I'm watching this shit. Smoking or whatever, and I'm like, are they booing Mox? So I rewound it and then turned it up again. I'm like, it's real faint, but it's still enough to where I'm like, damn, they booing Mox again. That's crazy.
When he hit that frog splash, everybody thought that it was over, and they were not happy that it wasn't. And, I mean, they still cheered when Moxley tapped him out, but it was a definitely, like, split crowd. And, I mean, for my money, I'd had Takeshita go over, especially because it was a non-title match. Just make the kid. I mean, he's everything. I think, like, he could be the next Tanahashi.
I was thinking about that on the way over here today, and I was getting a little discouraged because I didn't think he was going to win because Tony Khan came out, I guess it was either yesterday or he came on Busted Open yesterday afternoon in some form or fashion. He tweeted and then reinstated it on Busted Open, where he was basically saying that if Takeshita won, that he would get a AEW world title chance. So I was like, okay, it at least makes it, with some stakes on the line. I'm totally cool with that. But I still didn't think he would win, okay? Now, the part about him, getting over, going over versus going over, whatever the case may be, I was getting a little discouraged because every time I see him, at least the last couple of times, Eddie Kingston, L, Moxley, L, both make sense, especially Moxley. You're not good, as much as I want to see it, it's just probably not going to happen. I have to remind myself this is basically like his excursion. So he's not going to win the way I think he should win, or maybe the way I want him to win, okay? I want to go back and watch him in DDT. That's probably the more actual representation of what he is. Okay, he's probably not getting signed to AEW. I kind of don't want him to get signed with AEW. Like I said, this roster's loaded, even with guys out. It's still a loaded-ass roster. I'm just not sure where he would fit. The fact that this forbidden door is already open, you got New Japan in the mix. Maybe you can get Noah in the mix, DDT in the mix, and then work it where it's like, a rotating, Times Square door. It's not just an open and closed door. It's just rotating guys in and out. Ultimately,
Kenny has great DDT connections. Right. And also, Thunder Rosa was just on Tokyo Joshi, which is the same company. So,
Lord have mercy. That was a good-ass match. But, yeah, ultimately, I loved it. It gave me Wheeler Yuta Moxley vibes. It wasn't as intense as that match, because that made Wheeler Yuta who he is right now. But it kind of made me start to think about, this looks familiar. This looks like Wheeler Yuta versus Moxley. It was a good match. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm just trying not to get discouraged because I want to see him take down somebody big in AEW before he leaves, but probably not going to happen.
Right on, yeah, I agree. Luchasaurus and Christian Cage come out, so Christian's got a new turtleneck, but the same old act.
Hey, look, Christian Cage has stepped up to the plate, okay? In MJF's absence, he has been the heat magnet of AEW.
And he did it again. He's like, just like Jungle Boy, young Brian. He's like, you too had a dad, And I
was like, oh shit, here we go.
Barry's Brian Pillman, never a world champion. He's like, I think he would be happy that I'm speaking for him right now, which is so
he did say
ridiculous.
He didn't exactly bear him. He said, I think that he was average at best.
Yeah. Motherfucker. I was like, God damn, dog, you just gonna disrespect that man like that? That's crazy.
Yeah, I did think it was funny that he said that Griff looked like Jungle Boy, which in that picture he totally did.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they put jungle stuff behind him, right? That was That was Christian.
But obviously, to set Luchasaurus off, which leads us into the match. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, is it a stretch? Maybe, but it accomplished the goal of just having Luchasaurus just go the fuck off. And that's what you want at this point because Luchasaurus is now Christian Cage's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, yeah, we got more of that. Pretty simple, squashing those dudes. Fine. They're both young. They got potential, but it's, totally fine for them. I'm happy that Luchasaurus is a monster. It's good. Caneosaurus is what I call him now. Lucha Kane. Because he's got
I was about to say, I like Lucha Kane better, yeah.
Well, he's Christian's heavy. I call him Tyson Tomkosaurus. Zach might not have been watching at that point, but Christian used to have a heavy big guy named Tyson Tomko.
I was trying to parse that out. I'm like, I don't think I was around for that one.
No.
Speaking of stuff I wasn't around for, I was not around for Jake Hager and Claudio Castagnoli or Cesaro being a team. They were a team in WWE, though, right?
The Real Americans.
Yeah, with
the Real Americans.
With Zeb Coulter, a.k.a. Dutch Mantel,
people,
as their manager, and his little scooter.
That's a gimmick I thought could have got over and didn't never get over.
What are you talking? No, they were over. They were tag champs for a long time.
Were they?
Oh yeah.
Man, okay.
God damn! Now I gotta look it up. Make sure I'm right.
Go ahead, Tubular.
Yeah, so I was not around for that. I know they have history. They had a good promo exchange last week, and they had a really good match. I thought this was excellent. They're both bigger dudes than what you normally see in AEW, and they had a really fun big guy match. Not a big heavy guy match, but they both have power.
Not the Big E big guys slapping meat match, but it was more of a hybrid.
But they're both powerhouses.
Yeah, for sure. And where you can see Jake Hager doing a Hager bomb, or Claudio jumping off the middle rope and doing a corkscrew elbow. That's shit cruiserweights, junior heavyweights, whatever you want to call them. That's the shit that they do. These are legitimate 250, 260 guys, and they're doing the things that little guys are doing. That's what I thought was a good part of that match. I knew that Cardio was going to win, but I wanted to see how this one unfolded. It didn't disappoint.
Yeah, and I mean, I thought it was just, initially I was just like, oh, Jake Hager, okay. I actually haven't even seen him wrestle a whole lot, one-on-one in singles matches. And it ended up being a fantastic opponent for him. So this was a unexpected delight.
For sure. I was getting ready to say, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed for Claudio.
I expected it. I'm just going to say I expected it. I expected Claudio, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. I don't think anybody is pronouncing. That's not how they say it, but okay. they all say it differently than each other, though, too. I don't know, man.
That's right.
However JR says it is probably the way.
You ain't shit. Leave my man alone. He's down to an hour it's between shows. You just bring him out for big matches now. I mean, damn, we just phasing my boy on out the box.
No, he's doing the last hour of Dynamite so that he does the whole show of Rampage, and he was never on Rampage before, so he's still doing 2 hours, but just 1 hour of Dynamite. I saw a little thing with him, just a blurb from his podcast, which can be good depending on the guest. But he basically said that he gets a great reaction from the crowd, and it's usually off camera every show because they start filming Dynamite. Tony was just like, why don't we just put this reaction in the show? It's it'll boost the show. So he's pretty much doing that to boost the show, get the pop, and then also to boost Rampage because Rampage needs a little boost.
Yeah, he's got cool music too.
Yeah, it's fun because he's such a Sooners fan. He's such a college football guy.
Why does that bother you so much?
Hello? Never mind. It's a Florida State thing. Go ahead. Yeah, like I said. I'm sorry, Mizzou.
As my daughter would say.
Okay, see, I ain't gonna disrespect my niece, but I'm just gonna say, never mind. Go ahead, TV. I ain't gonna get us off track.
We had Anna Jay versus Serena Deeb, which was okay. There were some spots that weren't great, but they did give Anna Jay a lot, especially she got that choke on her a couple times where the crowd kind of got into it at the end thinking Anna Jay might choke Serena Deeb out, but of course she did not. So ended like you would expect it to. And then Mercedes Martinez came out because they did like a beatdown afterwards. So we're going to get, and she's the ROH champion, so we're going to get Serena Deeb versus Mercedes Martinez at Death Before Dishonor. So this pay-per-view looks pretty good. Like, I'm not spending $50 on it. Probably won't even spend $30 on it. If it was on Honor Club, I'd sign up for Honor Club. Like, they still, like, we're like a week and a half away from this thing, and I don't even know how to watch it. They got to get their ROH shit together. Like, I know it's a lot to do, but maybe don't do a show if I don't know how to watch it.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it's going to be on Fight TV. That's where ROH was before they closed their doors. They did a weekly show on Fight TV, and I'm pretty sure you can see the replays of their pay-per-view. So I would go to Fight TV first. Secondly, just a match with Anna Jay versus Serena Deeb. I'll echo my niece Edna May. Okay, look. It's not a knock against Serena Deeb. This is more against Anna Jay than anything else, okay? She just needs to stick with dark and dark elevation for a little bit. She's green, and it came out a couple of times in this match. The fact that, she had her finisher on finishing submission on the first time and there wasn't a crowd reaction was not necessarily a good sign. The second time when she took her down to the mat, that's when the crowd got into it. Ultimately, this just sets up Serena Deeb versus Mercedes Martinez on the 26th. I don't even think you needed the match to do that. That match, Serena Deeb versus Mercedes Martinez, is basically set. I don't think you need to have this match to set up or continue the storyline, better choice of words, for that title match on the 26th. Jonathan Gresham went heel on Dark. I thought that was very interesting. We didn't talk about
Rampage.
That. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, on Rampage.
I got nothing to say about Anna Jay versus Serena Deeb.
Yeah, no need. So we also had we had a segment, with the baddies in the back, which is a little funny.
Stokely
Hathaway, yeah. It was pretty good.
Okay, that was funny.
Stokely Hathaway's funny.
Sorry, man. I'm a little slow to come up sometimes.
Terrible.
I had I went on a work retreat whenever I was working for a beer distributor back home, and we went to Chicago, and one of the dudes just immediately downloaded Bumble, which is a dating app, and he handed me his phone, and he's like, "Hey, I got it right here." He's like, "Will you just I don't know, swiping right? Is that where you
swiping right is good? Swiping left is bad."
Yeah. He's like, "Just swipe right." He's like, "Just keep swiping right." He's like, "Just swipe right." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Chum in the waters, bro." Like, he was just swiping right on everything in a 50-mile radius, hoping that he would get hits because we were in town for 2 days. And he definitely did not. I shared a hotel room with him. He wasn't there the whole time. So.
What a life. What a fucking life for single people.
What's the name of this app? No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Grinder.
Which is fine. Not there's anything wrong with that. Nothing whatsoever. Nothing whatsoever.
I said I was going to be calm and PC, and now I'm making period jokes and making fun of gay people.
I was getting ready to say, just not my bag, baby. I'm like, Jason loves the ladies.
Terrible. It's terrible. I'm terrible.
You are. You even smoked weed.
No. All I've had is a natural light.
That's the problem. I mean, that's the juice of prejudice.
Oh, shit.
But three-way dance for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. This was pretty good, as you would expect it to be. Dampened a little bit. Matt Jackson got a stinger. There's like a vertical suplex spot, which was not even like a spot, like a crazy spot, and you could tell he was kind of taking it easy, and they were taking it easy with him. But there was a lot of fun spots in this match, and really the big story is Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee win the AEW tag team titles, which I was not expecting at all. I feel like this whole thing we're leading up to Young Bucks and FTR for all the gold, and then now suddenly Young Bucks do not have any gold, and they did not lose the match though. I forget who got pinned. I don't know if it was Ricky Starks or Powerhouse Hobbs, but it was one of those dudes. So, I mean, this was an interesting development. I mean, definitely
Starks
the
got
crowd
pinned.
right on. So yeah, it was pretty wild, and I mean, Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee are a great tag team, and they could be great champions. But I feel like the money match is FTR versus the Young Bucks. So either Young Bucks get these back, or FTR beats, Swerve and Keith Lee. I feel, I just feel like the money matches those guys for all this gold. Like, I really want to see this match, and I feel like a lot of people do too. I don't know what you guys think about it.
I was very surprised at the outcome of this match. I enjoyed the hell out of this match. It's a Bill Vegas special, triple threat.
Both show.
It was also the Young Bucks know how to have a match with almost no downtime, and there was almost no downtime in this. I mean, it was chaos from front to back. I think my favorite spot was when Swerve Strickland used Keith Lee as a springboard to do a backflip onto three guys. I certainly didn't see them coming, because there was a point in the match where the ref was knocked out, ref bump, and Swerve had one of the titles and started staring at Keith Lee like he was going to hit Keith Lee over the head with it. Decided against it. And right then I was like, well, they're the only team that won't win this. And there was probably 5 minutes left in the match at that point, which they packed
last 5 minutes was just crazy.
They packed a lot into 5 minutes, but I was like, okay, I could still. I heard before I watched this match that the plan was for the Hardys to win the belts off the Bucks, and so it seems like what the Bucks did was what was that, a triple threat too? That was supposed to be a triple threat.
Yeah, and that's when Jeff got
right.
jammed up, so they took him off.
Right, and I
Bucks
heard
won it off of Jurassic
and
Express.
really what the Bucks did was, they're the bosses, and they decided to be transitional champions, which makes sense because they obviously have plans for FTR that don't involve FTR versus the Bucks. So now it looks like we're getting FTR versus, this.
Well, they got the Briscoes first.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say first things first.
But this title, this name for the Swerve and Keith Lee tag team is, holy shit, one of the worst names that I can think of.
What is it?
Swerve in our glory.
Swerve in my glory, right?
Swerve
in our glory, I
whatever.
guess.
I mean,
terrible name.
Not a big fan of it, but I mean,
That's the dirt work.
I've heard worse. I can look past this because the team is actually good.
The team is great.
Okay.
Yes, the team is unbelievable. And finally, they let Keith Lee kind of unleash some of the shit that he can do that makes him
Keith Lee.
That makes him the guy that you can't turn away from.
Right.
What he calls himself, undeniable, right? Limitless. Okay. So he did that flip over the top rope onto those guys. That's the kind of shit that I want to see from Keith Lee, and he never does it. I was glad to see it. I was pleasantly surprised with the title change. I would have been happy with them putting it on Starks and Hobbs, though, also.
That would have been the team I would have put money on if it wasn't the Bucks retain.
Me too. But this match was legit fucking awesome. I actually could have used another 7-8 minutes of it. It was like 13 minutes. I mean, 20.
Really?
Yeah, I think 20 minutes would have been good. I mean,
Yes, it was
I
kinda
know it's
late
not a paper. Yeah, it was pretty late.
I guess it was kind of late into the show. If this was a 15-minute match, they packed it in for 15 minutes. I don't have a problem with what they did. I'm like with you guys. I'm surprised that the Bucks dropped the titles. Two Beer had me all basically psyched up. All out was going to be FTR versus the Bucks, and it still very well could be. We might just be taking a different route going that way to do it. For my money, I would like to see, Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks win it, but I don't have a problem with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland winning it. I still think Swerve ultimately turns on him, and I think that's part of how we get there. It's just now they're champions first. So, like I said, at the end of the day, it was a surprise. The Bucks being a transitional champion just doesn't even sound right to me. I don't think I could, those transitional champions and Young Bucks in the same sentence is just weird. But I'm going to let this thing play itself out and see if we get the match, like Two Beer said, is the money match. FTR Bucks, everything, chips in the middle, at All Out in Chicago in September. We'll see.
Right on. That was Dynamite. Rushed off the air after that, and
Yeah, they really did rush off the air. I wish they would just. I wish the Dynamite would let some stuff breathe. Sometimes,
or
you
maybe,
know what I mean?
Or do it like they do Raw sometimes. Give it an extra 5 or 8 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Go to 9:08 or whatever. So, people's DVR is going to be jacked up, but I'd rather see that versus a rushed finish.
Right. Okay, let's move on to that 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
I can't believe you guys let this one fall into Bill's count. I thought for sure you were going to go with the G1.
I wanted to.
Then I thought that Zach was going to go with the G1, but nevertheless.
He's Mr. AEW.
Nevertheless, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's Bill's Super Bowl.
It is, well, it's the true WrestleMania. It's what I say every year. It's the true WrestleMania. We have the G1 that starts on July the 16th, which is 2 days away. So we will have 3 G1 nights to discuss next week.
Oh, can't wait.
Next week on the podcast. So we're gonna break this down a little bit, boys. But the first thing that I'm gonna ask you guys, I think this is my 4th G1 watching, and so I think it's probably your 4th G1 watching, right?
I think we all watched the first ones together and been watching them since.
Yeah, so
4th or 5th.
The traditional format is 2 blocks of 10. 20 wrestlers, 2 blocks of 10. Each block is a round robin. The winners face off in the finals. This year, it's a little different. It is 4 blocks of 7, so there are 28 wrestlers. Now, we'll go through the blocks here in a minute, and I'm going to ask for a pick as we go along, and I'm going to mark down the picks just so that we have it, okay?
Right.
But the first thing that I'm going to ask you guys is, are you a fan? Because it used to be there'd be 5 tournament matches a night. Now everybody fights every night. This is a long month for everybody involved. But it used to be there were 5 matches a night. Each block has a match, right? Or each night is 1 block.
A block would have one night. B block would be the next night.
Thank you.
A block, B block.
It's the most concise way you could say it. I don't know why I was having a hard time with it. This time, night 1 is going to have a block A match, block B match, block C match, block D match. Are we a fan of this format? Jason, I'll ask you first. Because it changes it up.
I'm more of a traditionalist kind of guy. The way that
you have such a history with it,
the way
3 whole
that
years.
it is, the way that it was presented to me is usually the way I like it. In this scenario, it gives me pause to cause because now you're going to have a legitimate semifinal where it's 4 guys and then a final with 2 guys. I don't have a problem with this just because I'm seeing more guys that weren't there before. Jonah, Tom Lawler, Juice Robinson was in but out. Kenta is back. So Lance Archer's coming back. So for me, I don't necessarily, it's getting the New Japan roster involved because obviously you got guys coming in and out, but then the guys that are there, I think you can spread them out more. You can get more Gaijins into the tournament. I don't necessarily have a problem with it.
Zach, what do you think?
I don't have any problems with it. A couple bonuses that I like about it are the guys are not wrestling as many matches, so it's going to be less difficult on their bodies because they're only wrestling, 6 matches instead of 9. And also, losses mean more when there's only 7 participants per block. So those are some positive aspects if you're kind of poo-pooing the format.
Well said. No, I like the losses mean more because now a first loss, it's going to be, a little bit of, water in the boat. A second loss could be catastrophic. If we did it the way with 2 blocks of 10, usually, 10 points is usually a good start. So that's 5 wins. Okay. So you're losing maybe 2 or 3 matches. A third match is not the end of the world. The fourth match is usually, if you lose that fourth match, that's where you're out. A third match is probably where you're out at this point because, like Tubier said, it's not as many people in the block, so you don't have a chance to make up a Yano loss because somebody's going to lose the Yano. They ain't got no business losing the Yano, so you're going to have to be able to make that up in some form or fashion. So in that scenario, I have to agree with Tubier. I really like the fact that it's the 4 blocks of 7 versus the 2 blocks of 10.
Well, here's the thing here's the counter to that. Now, I totally get what you're saying, that loss means more. I'll also say that if you run through your block, like historically, you can be like, there's only so many people that have gone through undefeated. But if somebody goes through undefeated this time, like there's one guy in particular that I think is going to go undefeated.
I agree, too.
That it doesn't mean as much because he only had 6 matches. The other thing is...
You talking about Yano?
The other thing is...
Hell no.
The other thing is you have a guy like Jonah, who I think is fighting on the 3rd night and doesn't fight another tournament match for another 6 nights or something like that. Like there are... It's like Great Khan doesn't have his first match until like night 7, and then he has a match every 3 nights. So kayfabe style, that's better for him because he's going to be able to get into a rhythm. And maybe non-kayfabe style too. Maybe shoot style, that's going to be better for him because you can get into a rhythm, It's like, how pitchers have off days and shit like that. That being said, I do like the idea of having semifinals and a final, and I also like the idea of having more guys in it. Personally, I would probably lean towards having 2 blocks of 10 because I want to see more of a round robin. I want to see everybody fight everybody. The D block has 3 Bullet Club guys. It's Yujiro, Juice, and El Phantasmo. And A block only has 1 Bullet Club guy, Bad Luck Fale. There are tons of stories that can be told there. Now, those 3 Bullet Club guys are probably not the most. They don't have the most juice, no pun intended. But they're not the type of guys that are that consequential in terms of the Bullet Club, right?
No.
Now, maybe Juice is. El Phantasmo's making his.
It's gonna be intriguing to see what he does in the D block.
Oh, there's gonna be.
Imagine Juice has as much juice as he does dating Tony Storm. I mean, I'd look like a mummy. I'd be so dehydrated.
Let's go through these blocks. We're gonna go through block by block.
Okay.
I want you guys to tell me what matches you're looking forward to the most and who you think is going to win the block. So the A block. All right, we have Lance Archer of AEW fame. We have Bad Luck Fale. We have Toru Yano.
Fuck Yano. Sorry, I had to say it.
Jeff Cobb, Jonah, Tom Lawler, and Kazuchika Okada. Kazuchika Okada, and I'm going to go first because I have to go take a pee, but Kazuchika Okada and Jeff Cobb is night 1. That is the main event in night 1. Now, you have to think that those are the two favorites. Okada is clearly the favorite. It's hard to bet against Okada in that one. Jeff Cobb, it would be, if you were a betting man, the guy that you would bet on second. That is a match that I'm looking very much forward to, and I'm going to be staying. I haven't been on Twitter in 2 days.
Look at you.
Staying completely off it. I've only been on Facebook once in the last 2 days. I feel so much better. I remember when I was like you guys, like obsessed with social media, but it's not me anymore. It just feels good to be above it all. But it should be easy to steer clear of the spoilers. But I'm going to go first. I am going to take the chalk here. I'm going to say that I'm going to take Okada, and I'm going to say that the match that the match that I'm probably looking forward to the most. Well, there's two matches I'd say I'm probably looking forward to the most. I'm looking forward to Tom Lawler versus Okada, and I am looking forward to Jeff Cobb versus Jonah. Because when we talk about big, meaty men slapping meat, Jeff Cobb and Jonah are the two guys we were thinking of. And if you're listening and you don't know who Jonah is, he was formerly known as Bronson Reed in NXT. Zach, you go next.
Yeah, Bill kind of stole my thunder on the matches I'm most looking forward to. I know that Filthy Tom has to be rubbing his hands together, getting a match with Okada.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Filthy Tom's a really good wrestler, good personality too. I'm a fan. But, of course, Okada Cobb is going to be great too, and I love that they're giving us that night one. I think I'm going to go against the grain a little bit, almost maybe even against my own better judgment. I know Okada won it last year. That doesn't mean that he's automatically disqualified. You can win it 2 years in a row. Bushi, did that. Okada's Okada. I think Cobb beats Okada on opening night because Okada beat Cobb last. I don't know if Cobb's beaten Okada yet.
I think he has. I want to say he did. It was a build towards their Wrestle Kingdom match, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he probably did beat him once.
I want to say it's been one time, but it's not been where obviously with the title on the line last year, Cobb lost to Okada in basically the semifinal of the A block where they wrestled and the winner won the block. Okada won obviously, so he went on and won the whole tournament. I only think that Jeff Cobb has beaten Okada the one time.
That makes sense. I just have COVID brain. I'm a few beers deep here, but I'm going to take Cobb to win that match, and I think that's going to be the main story of the block. But I think Okada is going to win A block. I'll pick Okada as my winner for the block, but I think that's going to be a fun. I think they're going to be kind of neck and neck, and it might come down to a draw situation or something. But yeah.
Shit. This is the Okada block of death, and I said it a couple times leading up to this. Lance Archer versus Jonah, I would be interested in. Lance Archer versus Cobb, I would be interested in. We already said Jeff Cobb versus Jonah. Tom Lawler versus Okada. I even hate to give this motherfucker any kind of credit, but I'm going to give him the credit in this scenario. Yano is going to be the wild card in the A block. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, Jeff Cobb does beat Okada in the opening night, night one or whatever, the G1. At some point, then Jeff Cobb would probably have to drop a match. Yano is that guy that you drop a match to unexpectedly.
Somebody always slips on the banana peel.
Okay. So, if Jeff Cobb beats Okada night one, I can easily see that happening. I can see the reverse happening. The winner of night one is, I'll go this far, my first prediction of G1 32. The winner of night one loses to Yano eventually, whenever they meet.
I like that.
Because now it evens them back up, and then you can kind of go from there. But it's going to be hard for me to go. I picked Jeff Cobb last year. I can't do it this year. I'm going with you guys. I'm going to pick Okada to win AEW.
All right. Everybody's got Okada. I mean,
I want to pick Jeff Cobb so bad. I just don't.
do it.
I just don't think. I want to. I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I just don't think he will.
You're a nerd.
All right. So let's move on to the B block. All right. So the B block is Jay White, Tama Tonga, Tomohiro Ishii, Taichi, Great-O-Khan, Chase Owens, and Sanada. All right. Jason, you went last that time. We'll let you go first this time.
This feels like the revenge block on Jay White. A lot of guys in this block have beef with Jay White in some form or fashion or the other. Sanada, not as much of beef, but lost to Jay White. Tama Tonga obviously disposed from Bullet Club. Ishii, when Jay White decided he was going to quit, he decided to come back and attacked Ishii first. So for me, this is all about Jay White, and can any one of these 6 other guys beat Jay White? Other matches I'm looking forward to, Ishii versus everybody. I'm sorry. I think Ishii's going to be the star of this whole fucking B block. Great-O-Khan, I'm looking for to have some good matches. I want to see him against Jay White. That's ultimately the measuring stick. But at the end of the day, I really think Jay White runs the table and goes the B block undefeated. I'm taking Jay White going 6-0, undefeated in the B block.
2 beer.
Yeah, I've got Jay White winning the block. I do think you probably beat him once just to set up a title match in the interim.
Okay, so everybody, I'm assuming you're going to take Jay White as well, correct?
Yeah, I took Jay White for the block.
No, I was talking to Bill.
He's talking to me. Yeah, I was taking him to go undefeated. Yes.
Okay,
that's
so
what I was talking about.
So let's
Same as you.
Let's say, for the sake of argument, he does lose one match in the B block. Zach, go first. Who did he lose the one match to set up an interim title match?
You know, if it was another year, I would say Sanada, but I think it's not like a big headline marquee match, but I think it's Tama Tonga.
I
like that pick.
I love that pick. I love it a lot.
I was gonna say Great-O-Khan.
That was gonna be my guess too until he said Tama Tonga. I love Tama Tonga.
Yeah, and you know Jay White Tama Tonga is it's not a Bullet Club match because they kicked Tama Tonga out, but it is a Bullet Club match
for sure.
You know, and it's
an original Bullet Club member versus the guy that kicked him out.
Yes, and it would be a intriguing, and Tama Tonga has shown. I don't want to say progress. He's looked really good as a singles wrestler.
I mean, quiet as it's kept. I mean, because we haven't seen Carl Anderson, but Tama Tonga was the never openweight champion before he lost to Carl Anderson.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, there is some precedence, I guess, for lack of a better term, for him being a singles guy. If he beats Jay White, that's better for Tama Tonga than it is for Jay White. That you can, like Tubular said, you can make the match down the line. Jay White goes over, and then you move towards Wrestle Kingdom. If there's one guy that could beat Jay White, that I would want to see Jay White go down to, is Tama Tonga.
What's a low key match that you're looking forward to in this block?
Sanada Tama Tonga. Chase Owens, I think, can always. Tai Chi is in this mix, so Tai Chi, I expect as long as he's healthy. His problem last year is he was coming down the stretch and he was just not healthy. He had a bunch of bad matches in a row. Tai Chi is a guy that if Jay White went the round, I would love to pick him. But I think Tai Chi's going to have some good matches too. Him and Jay White is intriguing.
Yeah, I got to admit, this block doesn't really
I don't think it's meant to.
That doesn't really do it for me. I guess like Tai Chi Jay White would probably be the low key match that I'm looking forward to the most. But how can you say it's low key when it's got the champion?
When you have Tai Chi versus Jay White, two guys that usually don't cross paths unless it's in a multi-man match. Now it's a singles match. It's a opportunity for Tai Chi to get a chance that he probably would never get,
Zach, is there a match that you're looking forward to?
I just kept thinking while you guys were talking that I never realized that Tai Chi is just Chai Tea transposed. It's really funny. But I'll go with JCB's sentiment of Ishii versus everybody.
Yeah, I mean, one of these days, though, it's going to be... I mean, Ishii's coming to the end of his G1 run, and one of these days he's going to lose more matches than he wins. In fact, that probably happened last year. I think last year he only had 6 points or something. Anyway, but Ishii should never lose to... Well, he should never lose to flabby as Chase Owens.
No.
But...
No.
Should never lose to boring-ass Sonata.
Chase Owens, whose moniker is named after a blood money show in Saudi Arabia, the Crown Jewel Bullet Club. Really got to change that up.
That's really funny.
That's
looking like the bag of milk that you get out of a hotel vending machine.
Holy shit. Dude, what the fuck? How you know what milk comes out of vending? Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay.
You know, like it's got the little hose that comes out for your like shitty cereal and your shitty little styrofoam bowl. And just like you hope it's refrigerated.
All right.
It's a bag of milk.
So this is the block of death.
Oh shit.
The C block seems to me the block of death, and it seems to me like there are probably 5 guys that could legit come out of here. So it's Naito, Zack Sabre Jr., Kenta, Evil, Goto, Hanare, and Tanahashi. Zach, we've both had a chance to go first. Zach, going to let you go first here. Who are you picking to win this block, and what is the low-key match that you were looking forward to the most? There's a few in here.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, sorry for the body shaming. Not cool, even if it was funny. But the C block is like legit awesome. There's going to be some amazing matches in here.
Block of death.
Yeah, do not sleep on Aaron Hanare either. I think he's really motivated to show himself in the C block here. And, oh man, I think like, talk about sleeper matches, like Aaron Hanare, Goto. That sounds really fun.
You stole my thunder.
Sorry.
All right, man, go ahead.
The only 2 guys that can't win the block.
I think it would be a really good match, and I think it's going to be a really good match.
That's what Yoshihashi and Goto gave us last year.
Right.
It was like one of the matches of the entire G1.
Yeah, it felt like a throwaway match, and then all of a sudden it turned out to be a barn burner.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that's why you got to like watch all these matches because like they have the potential to just be like.
It's going to be easier this year. There's only 4 matches per night instead of 5 matches per night.
Yep, I'm going to be on vacation for most of it. I'll be. We'll have to talk schedule and stuff. It always happens that way. I always have this like summer vacation and then with like my whole family, and then I gotta like sit on my phone and watch.
I was in fucking Venice, Italy a couple years ago, and I watched matches on my phone.
True story.
Like, listen, you're either a G1 fan or you're not.
Damn, he threw. Damn, hold up, is that a gauntlet I see down on the ground?
I watched like 3 matches, like wasted in my hotel room.
Aaron's not here. Fantastic. Let's go.
I think I texted you guys like tons of typos. I was like, fucking rules.
I'm like, this drunk motherfucker, go to sleep.
But yeah, I could gush about this and the potential for a long time, and we've seen a lot of these matches before. I mean, Zack Sabre Tanahashi is always great, but Naito's in this block. They haven't seen a whole lot from him. 2 months lately, he's always will pull out all the stops for these matches. But my guy for this one, my pick for the C block is Zack Sabre Jr.
All right, I'll go next. I agree, Bill. This is ultimately the block of death. There's guys that have won the G1 and Tanahashi and Naito. In this block, Zack Sabre Jr., former New Japan Cup winner.
New Japan Cup.
Goto, I always say that he rises to the occasion. Kenta's in this mix. Evil will have the fuckery of House of Torture with him. Matches I'm kind of looking forward to. Not even say kind of looking forward to. Looking forward to Kenta versus Tanahashi for obvious reasons. Naito versus Zack Sabre Jr. for obvious reasons. You said Goto, Hinare. Anything but Evil is, an Evil match I can do without.
I actually did say you want to watch all the matches. You can skip
the Evil matches.
Kenta.
Yeah, I was
I'm just letting you know.
Actually, all bullshit aside, the fact that they're both Bullet Club, I would like to see if we're going to see the same usual House of Torture bullshit, but it's probably an easily skippable match. The winner of the block.
Who did Zach take?
Zach took Zack Sabre Jr. I got the sneaking suspicion we're going to take 3 different guys here because the block can go, like Bill said 5, I said 3. I'm going to take my boy. He's not going to win the whole thing, but I think he wins this block to give the illusion that he could win the whole thing. Naito is talking about his ultimate goal is to main event Wrestle Kingdom next year. This is the last way to do it unless he defeats the champion. I don't see Okada. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't see Jay White and Naito crossing paths anytime soon unless they absolutely have to. This is the
They've
way
never fought, right?
Oh, yeah, they fought. They've definitely had matches.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of Ospreay. Ospreay Naito has never happened.
Part of the reason why I'm picking Naito is that
is it A versus B and C versus D?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Part of the reason why I'm taking Naito to win the C block because that match hasn't happened. And like I said, Naito's path back to the championship is to win the G1 at this point. So I'm taking Naito to win the C block.
Okay. You're right. We're all 3 taking different people. I said this weeks ago when the blocks were announced. Zach wasn't on the show, and you and I had very early predictions. I don't think I've strayed too far away from, so I'm going to stick with Evil. I mean,
he says it with a straight face.
I'm going to.
No, I'm totally joking.
Was Evil not one of your 3 guys?
Not one of the 3 guys that I was thinking.
Who were your 3 guys? Naito, Sabre Jr., and Tanahashi?
Yeah.
I think Kenta could win it too. Anyway, I'm going to go with Evil just because they don't mind pissing us off with that. I
don't mind it.
Also, at Dominion, I kind of started coming around on House of Torture. I was like, well, now, no, I said it on the podcast, everybody hates them so much, but they lost. And so if you have, listen, it doesn't hurt to have, I'm not saying Evil's going to make it to the finals.
I'm just looking at you. Stop being fucking paranoid.
I'm motherfucker. I'm a nerd. So the low-key match that I'm looking forward to is Hinare versus Zack Sabre Jr. because I like watching Zack Sabre Jr. fight anybody, and Hinare is the only fresh blood in this block. We have seen everybody in this block fight each other several times.
Some form or fashion, for sure.
Several times, except for Hinare, and I am looking to see the shit talking that Zack Sabre Jr. does to Hinare as fresh meat in the G1.
Oh, Zack Sabre Jr.
All right. So, the D block. Now, this is the block that might be the funnest in terms of in-ring wrestling. It might not be the most heady. It might not be the most cerebral, but it could be the most high-flying, except for Yujiro. So, we have Ospreay, El Phantasmo. Oh, shit. My phone's run out. Ospreay, El Phantasmo, Juice Robinson, David Finlay, Yujiro Takahashi, Yoshihashi. I forgot Yoshihashi was even in this. And Shingo Takagi. I know. My bad.
Sorry, Brett. No disrespect.
Jason, I will let... I love Yoshihashi. I already shouted him out. Jason, I will let you go first. Who are you taking?
2-horse race here in the D block. Will Ospreay versus Shingo. I would assume that they would have that match towards the end. Yoshihashi, obviously, Brett, a big fan of Yoshihashi. I think him and David Finlay could have a good match. I think him and the ELP could have a good match. Juice Robinson versus Ospreay, with Will Ospreay being the current IWGP U.S. champion, and Juice holding the belt. That's always something to look forward to. I'm looking for Will Ospreay to come back. Two-horse race. Naito versus Shingo would sound real interesting, but I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to stick to Will Ospreay to take the D-block.
Yeah, I also have Will Ospreay taking the D-block. There's a few matches that I'll tell you the match that I'm really looking forward to is Shingo versus El Phantasmo. That sounds, and every Will Ospreay match. I mean, Will Ospreay, Juice Robinson, Will Ospreay, Yoshihashi. Those all sound like fun to me. I'm going to take Will Ospreay also. Zach.
Yeah, I've got Will Ospreay for this block. I think Will and Shingo will have another match of the year contender. I think it'll be the match of the tournament.
It is. I'm looking at right now. It is night 12 on August 6th.
Close to the end, but not the end.
Close to the end, but not the end. Yeah.
But
also on that night we have Yano versus Archer. Hell yeah.
Lance Archer whoop his ass.
They have done nothing but overachieve every single time they've been in the ring together. Really looking forward to Will and El Phantasmo also.
Yes.
I think that'll be a really dynamic match. And, I mean, this is a really solid block. Really the only bummer you have is Yujiro, because David Finlay's a really good wrestler.
I was just going to say that.
He's just not there as far as like dynamic personality, like star power, but the dude has got it, and he's really worked hard over the pandemic to like get in shape. You know, I used to make the same jokes, I just made about like, Chase Owens. This is really shitty because I'm just sitting over here like fucking Leto the second, like sandworm from Dune, just like looking like a huge piece of shit. Maybe have a dick. I don't know. Do I have a dick? Can't find it. Who knows? But anyway, So Finlay though is looking great, and he's a really good hand, and I say that in a really good way. Him
and Will Ospreay should have a good match.
Totally. Ospreay's gonna have a great match with everybody. He might even pull one off of Yujiro. That's how good of a wrestler he is.
For sure. I was going to say, I like the fact that you do have David Finlay in this block because he's going to be the guy that's going to make other guys look good.
So, Just to be clear, you are taking
Will Ospreay.
Okay. So, all of us have A, B, and D the same. C is the only wild card that we have.
That's wild. So, like, all of our A, B, and D, so that's interesting. So that makes it kind of cool as far as looking at. Are we going to do predictions for those real quick?
Yeah,
A and B block, if they're all the same.
Let's go with the rest of the way.
Let's Okada versus Jay White. Go ahead, Zach.
I would go Jay White.
I'll take the Rainmaker.
Just because I'm feeling it.
I'm taking Okada, too. I'm taking Okada. So, Zach has White losing a match during the block. Jason and I don't.
No.
I have Okada beating White in the semifinal.
Yes.
So
then that would be his loss.
Right.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Right. They should let us book the territory. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting. I have Evil versus Will Ospreay. I'm not going to take Evil. I'm taking Will Ospreay. So I have Okada versus Will Ospreay in the finals. Jason.
Well, hang on.
You have Naito versus Will Ospreay.
Jesus Christ. Oh, God damn it. I'm going to take Naito. Yeah, I'm going to take him.
Yep. So you're setting up with Okada, Naito.
Again,
final.
and I'll take Well, we haven't said that part yet. Okay, fair enough.
And Zack Sabre Jr. versus Will Ospreay. Man, Zack Sabre Pullman has
Zack Sabre Jr.
3 guys in. God, what a fucking racist, man. Jesus Christ. So you have Zack Sabre Jr. versus Will Ospreay.
We're doing that, American expansionism. It's manifest destiny.
Ain't this a bitch?
Have you ever seen The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise?
You ever seen Amistad?
Yes. I have.
I say that. I actually haven't.
You ever seen Pain and Gain with Mark Wahlberg and The Rock? That movie fucking rules, man. Did I talk about this last week? Holy shit. That movie is fucking great. All right, Zach.
Let that man make this
You ever watch Sleepers and get a boner? Okay, that might be the worst joke I've ever said on this podcast.
I should turn your mic down. That's a true story, man. That's a true story. That shit is Sleepers.
Oh, I thought you meant about the boner. I didn't know it was true either. It's so terrible. Oh God. I have Will Ospreay beating Zack Sabre in a fantastic match, and I also have Will Ospreay going all the way. I think he's going to win the G1.
All right. So I also have Will Ospreay going all the way. Jason's the only one that doesn't have Will Ospreay in the finals. Okada Naito, who you going?
The reason why I don't have Will Ospreay in the final is because it keeps with the
because he's fighting Naito.
No, it keeps with the
fucking
continuing
Mark.
It continues,
you called me a Mark before the show. You Mark. You called me a Mark.
Storyline of Will Ospreay getting fucked over by New Japan all the time. Now that being said, I'm taking Okada to win over Naito to win the G1. How about that?
Okay.
Like I did something great. I'm like, yeah.
All right. So Zach and I have Will Ospreay winning the G1. Jason, just fucking chalk. He picked Duke. And okay. So I'm going to ask one more question because I saw Chris Samsa ask this question, or I think Chris Samsa asked this question on Twitter. A couple days ago when I was still on it because I'm not on it anymore.
Look, I wasn't going to call you out, but I was thinking about it.
2 days now, 48 hours. Haven't been on Twitter.
Look at you.
I feel great. I feel like $100. Who is the guy? So if they were laying out betting lines for who would win the G1. So say Okada is 4-1, say Jay White's 4-1, say Zack Sabre Jr. is 8-1, say Great O'Khan is 14-1. Who is the guy with the least amount of odds, the worst odds, that you would just put a tiny bit of money on?
To win the whole thing?
To win the whole thing. Like, who is the surprise guy that you would kind of put I kind of just gave away the ghost there. Mine would be Great O'Khan. Like, I would put a little bit of money on Great O'Khan to win the whole thing, even though I don't think that he will, obviously, because I didn't pick him. But I could see, like, a shocker with Great O'Khan.
Jeez.
The company is clearly behind him, is my reasoning for him.
For sure. No question about it.
He's, like, saving chicks out of burning buildings and stuff.
Right.
His Instagram's on point, by the way.
I wouldn't know. I'm not on social media.
This motherfucker here.
It's just him and a bunch of strippers all the time. It's
yeah,
great.
right. God bless him. Jonah would be the guy that would be the biggest surprise because he would have to come out the A block.
Who?
Jonah would be the big. To me, I would think he's like.
I think Jonah's going to have a good tournament.
And it wouldn't be the end all, the be all. I would be stunned if he won the whole thing, but. He's going to be a big guy that's going to have to wrestle Lance Archer, Cobb, Fale. Tom Lawler would give him some problems. Okada is Okada. I can see him, slipping on the banana peel to Yano.
But you'd put a little bit of money on him?
For sure.
Zach?
Might sound crazy.
It's kind of a weird question, but you understand the question, right?
Yeah. It might sound crazy, but hear me out. Austin Theory.
They find that nigga over from the United States. I got the briefcase. What the fuck is this? That don't mean shit over here.
I don't know who you're
He's
talking
like,
about.
No, I already won the briefcase. Yeah. But no.
Oh, you mean Theory? Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
Oh, yeah. But if it was me, I cannot throw money away. So I would pick a guy who is unlikely, but I still think that he possibly could just because, I would not like it, but I would put it on Evil. He's unlikely to win,
shit.
but he could win.
That's a great answer. It's a great answer. All right, guys, that was fun. I am looking forward to G1. I am looking forward to discussing a month full of G1 with my G1 boys here on the BFR
I was
podcast.
Say, it's going to be the bullshit at the 1 count, AEW 2 count, G1 3 count from starting this point next week for the next month.
I am very much looking forward to it. That's going to do it for our 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
All right, so there's not that much stuff to talk about. I do want to talk about the ending of Raw, about how Dolph Ziggler comes out of nowhere, sits down.
I'm surprised you didn't talk about it at the very beginning.
Dolph Ziggler comes out and sits down, and just watches. He's in his little fucking Reservoir Dogs suit or whatever, and he sits down and watches the main event, which is Theory and Seth Rollins versus Bobby Lashley and Riddle.
Good match?
Yeah, good match. Of course, it's a good match. By the way, don't want to spoil the birthdays. Bobby Lashley turns 46 this week. Bobby Lashley he's 5 years younger than Bubba Ray Dudley, who it's unbelievable how good Bobby Lashley looks. It really is. Steroids is a hell of a drug.
Right.
But
black don't crack, by the way.
Well, there's that too. Austin Theory goes to pin Riddle with his feet on the ropes. Ziggler, who's been sitting in front of the announce table the entire time, he's not on commentary or anything, pushes it off. Austin Theory turns around to him, says, "What the fuck?" He gets rolled up. Riddle gets the win. Ziggler comes in, super kicks Theory, and stands over Theory as the show closes. Zach, I don't even know if you knew this happened, but this is what happened, so I'm going to let you collect your thoughts for a minute. Jason, Theory has a match against Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam.
Yep.
That is booked.
Done deal. Yep.
Theory also has been talking shit on SmackDown and Raw about how he is definitely cashing in at SummerSlam. And then Dolph Ziggler comes in and super kicks Theory. I have to say that this was an interesting end to Raw. Maybe it's because Raw hasn't had an interesting end in a long time.
It has been a little bit.
But this was one that really came out of nowhere and really left me thinking about it after I saw it. I was like,
what if?
What the fuck are they doing?
Right.
They're not going to have another program with Ziggler, Theory and Ziggler in between now and SummerSlam, right? What is the point? What do you think Ziggler's role is in this? Because I have a theory.
Okay. I'll just say it like this. When I saw it, my knee-jerk reaction was like, okay, I don't think that it will be a successful cash-in, but it shouldn't be that easy. There should be some sort of roadblock in between Theory coming down to the ring and having two guys laid out after a last man standing match. Enter Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler obviously can wrestle, former world champion, probably missed his shot being a big champion at some point due to injuries, bad booking, whatever the case may be. The bottom line to me in this one, when he went down to NXT, and I kind of rolled my eyes on that, you said it right then. It's to help to get Braun Breaker over. This is the same scenario. They're bringing him in.
We did a whole extra pod after we were done, and we got
on
high.
that whole
I know,
because
I was so mad at you.
Okay.
I was like, record it.
This is the same thing. I don't necessarily like the fact that Theory I shouldn't say that. I like the fact that Theory has it. I don't like the fact that Theory can just walk down to the ring after the smoke clears and cash it in. It needs to be a little hoop jumping. Dolph Ziggler is the hoop jump. Somehow, some way, maybe at SummerSlam, Dolph Ziggler cuts him off. Or for the fact that they'll have promos leading up to SummerSlam, and Dolph Ziggler might not even have a match with, hopefully, might not even have a match with Austin Theory. But when push comes to shove, that's when you see Dolph Ziggler cut Austin Theory off. You know, at least make him battle for the chance to win or to cash it in to win the WWE Championship. That's just my thought. It could easily go left. It could easily be absolutely nothing. Dolph Ziggler rides off with Austin Theory, and they could be tag team partners again. I could see that too, because that's WWE. My knee-jerk reaction is the fact that Dolph Ziggler's there to make Austin Theory have to work to cash in the title.
Zach?
I mean, I think they'll probably just have a match at SummerSlam. I mean, it's 2 weeks away.
Dude,
I know
Austin Theory already has a match. How many matches is Austin Theory going to have to wrestle?
What's he wrestling at SummerSlam?
He's wrestling Bobby Lashley for the rematch for the U.S. title.
Oh,
he keeps talking about how he's going
to.
He's keeps talking about how he's going to walk out of SummerSlam with 3 belts: the U.S., the Universal, and the World.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense.
Can I present an alternate theory?
Please
do, because I got nothing. That seems, now that you said that sounds absolutely ridiculous.
That's why this ending of Raw was so interesting to me, and I was watching it live. And I woke up the next day and I was like, why would they have Dolph Ziggler do that?
You woke up the next day thinking about WWE? You better than me. That shit goes like 30, 45 minutes afterwards. I'm done.
Well, they haven't had anything interesting happen in a long time. I'm telling you, that is, to me.
You're really a Dolph Ziggler mark, huh?
This is what I think happens.
Answer, yes.
I think, shit, man. I got some shit going on. I gotta get off the phone. I have to get off the podcast here in a little bit.
Right.
I think that I was like, well, you could easily have Dolph Ziggler and Austin Theory have some sort of. Dolph Ziggler could say, "I was just like you. I was young. I won the Money in the Bank, and it never had." And Austin Theory can be like, "Yeah, it never happened for you," and Dolph Ziggler can be like, "Yeah, it never happened for me."
No, he
now
cashed it in on Alberto.
Why don't I show you how it never happened for me? And then you have Dolph Ziggler be Austin Theory's manager, like his tough love manager. And then you have Dolph Ziggler as Austin Theory's manager.
I would agree with
just
that.
Just like Mr. Perfect was
Ric Flair's manager. I would agree with that. If Dolph never cashed in successfully, I would totally agree with that.
That's, but I mean, they're not going to have a feud, right?
It's a coin flip. It's legitimately a coin flip.
Do you like that though?
No, I like it. The only thing that I would say I personally would have a problem with it is that Dolph Ziggler cashed in successfully.
Okay.
That's not tough love. If he was like Damian Sandow, that didn't cash in and was like, okay,
Baron Corbin,
this is the things I did wrong. Now let's not do those things so you can cash in, successfully. At that point, I'm all for it.
All right. The only other thing I want to talk about is that did you guys watch the Max Dupree model segment?
Horrible.
No,
I know you loved it. Are you kidding me? Really?
Wrong.
This is how we're going.
Not
this
horrible.
This is how we're going to end this.
Horrible.
This is how we're going to this. Go ahead and go. Defend
So
this
good.
bullshit.
This is the over the top. This is the over the top sports entertainment shit that they should be doing all the time.
Horrible.
With Mace and Mansoor, and he calls them Mace and Mansoore, and they're doing the tennis collection. Zach, did you see this?
Hell no. He was the smartest motherfucker of the bunch. He didn't waste your time.
It's so
I will
good.
answer for you, Zach.
It's so good.
It's so bad. No, don't let this motherfucker.
It's right to censor good. It's right to censor good.
Mind you, this is the same guy that was talking about how NXT was so great, and then they broke up the tag team champions Tuesday.
No, I didn't say right. I didn't say NXT was so great. I said NXT is. There are parts of it that's worth watching. Obviously, it's not. I didn't even watch it this week.
Look at you.
I haven't watched it in weeks. I watch it every once in a while because my wife works on Tuesday nights and because there's so many fucking commercials during Cardinal games. Anyway.
Blame the Cardinals.
Anyway, you guys have anything else? I got to make some phone calls after this.
Nope, we're good.
Everybody good?
Everybody's good.
All right.
This is banned from ringside.
All right, we got some birthdays this week. Double J. Jeff Jarrett.
Double F. I saw the other Jeff Jarrett the other day.
Oh, yeah. He's pissed at me because I didn't go to the Black Rebel Motorcycle Club show on Sunday night. How old do you think Jeff Jarrett is, the real one?
I am X, so he has to be 7 years older than me, 53.
55. Bubba Ray Dudley is 51. Heath Slater, he's got kids. I hope he's doing okay. He's 39.
He's still employed. He's
Jesse the Body Ventura is 71. Boogeyman, who is now the head of Judgment Day, is 58. Bobby Lashley is 46. Unbelievable.
That's ridiculous.
He looks
so
spectacular. Excalibur is younger than me. He's 42. Just turned 42. Mojo Rawley. Hope that motherfucker's doing fine.
Yeah, he's on TMZ Sports.
Oh, he is?
Yep.
Oh, good. I just figured he was banging Rob Gronkowski shrapnel. He's 36. Al Snow is 59. Joey Mercury is 43. Mandy Rose is 31.
Oh my God.
Mandy Rose is 31. Karrion Kross is 37. Jinder Mahal is 36. And Adam Rose. You guys remember Adam Rose?
Oh, yeah.
He's 43.
From NXT.
Yeah.
Super creepy hippie.
Yeah. I liked it.
Of course you did.
Hey, everybody. We know there's tons of podcasts to listen to, so we appreciate you guys listening to ours. For Vice.
Check.
For Joey O'Farrell.
Check.
For Murray the Murray Man Murray.
Check.
For Patriot Pat.
Check.
For
High Five Time on Wrestling Lord and Savior.
For High Five Tom.
Double check.
For Shock City Studios. For Two Beer Zach Ballman.
Double
for
check.
Jason Cornelius.
Single check.
Support your local restaurants.
Check.
Support your local weed dealers.
Double check.
Black Lives Matter.
Triple check.
And boo the heels.
Boo, bitch.